You guys know that I've been adamant about the pass rush, and I've had enough. I've had enough of the glazing of Brad Holmes. I'm tired of it. The man has put together a fantastic team over the in a very short time, and for that I give him credit. But he has to be held accountable for his lack of moves. I have lost a little bit of respect for him. Now you might be like, "Well, Derek, you never respected him." That's not true. I just haven't glazed him. I respect what this man has done, but I've lost a little bit of respect for him. His claim to fame is Jahmyr Gibbs. It really is. That's his claim to fame is Jahmyr Gibbs. He made the man wear a positional value villain hoodie. Okay? If you got the gauze to wear a positional value hoodie, where was you at the trade deadline, bro? Why is your coach answering questions that should be reserved for you? And now we got a super chat from C Pool, who states this: NFL average time for QBs to throw in 2025 is 2.7 seconds. Now, a couple of years ago, it was 2.4. So it's gone up by 0.3 of a second. The Lions are allowing 3.23 seconds to throw. It's about half a second more. And then half a second could be the difference between a strip sack fumble and an incompletion. A half a second could be the difference between a strip sack fumble, a game-winning sack like we saw in Week 12 with Aiden Hutchinson and the Giants, and a giant play that we saw from the Giants in Week 12 versus the Giants. One man, in my opinion, is to blame for this. One. That's it. This is what Brad Holmes has done. Now we keep on saying when we use "we're good." Dan Campbell said that, but we look at Brad. I never heard Brad say it. Dan Campbell said we good, but him and Brad share the same brain, right? When Za'Darius Smith, now I know he retired. That's not the point. The point is when at the time Za'Darius Smith was still an option. And who knows what would happen if he was on the Detroit Lions. I think one of the reasons he retired was he lost passion for the game, and I can see that. You win two different cities in the same year, you probably done. You got little kids, I get it. But that's not the point. Because beyond Za'Darius Smith, if you go back to the offseason, Brad Holmes in particular, if you watch him and you watch the fact that there's a particular subject that he can't stand talking about. It is the pass rush. He hates talking about it. The media grilled him this offseason about a pass rusher. We, even from the draft, in every category, we had an opportunity. And in free agency, what does he do? We're not even talking about necessarily the edge position. What does he do? No lie, in free agency, your bold move was re-signing Marcus Davenport, who was coming off of, let me remind you, 2 season-ending injuries. That was your power move. You signed a practice squad dude whose career high is 6.5 sacks. That practice squad dude in Al-Qadim Muhammad has been missing no sacks for 3 games now. You draft a 6th-round pick. And one thing that annoys me about Lions fans is this excitement and we put this pressure on these people. And it's like, what are we basing this reaction off of? And what I mean by that is Ahmed Hassanin. He's a 6th-round pick. I know his family chimes in to everyone's YouTube videos. I don't know if this guy is really his dad, but his dad I've seen his dad, his stepmom, his brother, used to appear on podcasts after he was drafted. So they claim this guy and they love him and they should. And they rep for him. They should. I would do the same thing. At the same time, the dude is a 6th-round pick. He was a 6th-round pick for a reason, and he's done nothing in the NFL right now. I love the guy's attitude. I love it. I love the fact that he would die for Dan Campbell. I love the fact that he didn't want to go anywhere else. He chose to stay in Detroit because he literally could have gone to any NFL team and not affected their 53-man roster. He wanted to stay in Detroit. I love that. And that speaks volumes of him. But as far as his ability in the NFL, we have yet to see it. But I lost respect for Brad Holmes. I have, because I lost it when you didn't speak at the trade deadline, when you knew we could have used an offensive lineman, when you knew, and when it comes to the D-line, if you go back and you watch the tape, it's the same. The reaction has gotten this offseason in particular. He was real chippy when he was asked about the D-line, that everyone saw that there was going to be a problem with. In the offseason, we all saw it, everybody but him. But he put his trust in a guy that is coming off 2 season-ending injuries. He put his trust in a 6th-round pick. He put his trust in a guy, okay, that is battling cancer. Love you, Josh. Get well. Win that battle. He put his faith in what's the word I'm looking for? In the underachieving 2nd-round pick in Levi Onwuzurike. He put his faith in there. Everyone outside of the Lions organization saw the disaster that was in the making. And on top of that, our star defensive end is coming off a season-ending injury himself. And you decide that you're not going to do anything of significant value on the D-line. When it comes to the edge, you draft a rookie. Okay, we talked about it last week, about the pedestrian of Brad Holmes. That he is looking mighty pedestrian. Think about it. Jahmyr Gibbs is his claim to fame. It is. I'm not saying that he's a bad drafter, but if you dissect the draft and you start looking at the later half of 2023 up until now, not a great turnout. It's not. Terrion, we don't know yet. We don't know. Tyleek, too early to tell. Right now, Roy Lopez is in the game. Okay? We'll give rookie some slack. We'll cut him some slack. Even Ahmed, we'll cut him some slack. We'll give those guys some slack. But outside of that, you had an opportunity to properly, and when I say properly address the D-line, this is what I'm talking about. DJ Reader. We can't get, so right now, along with the 3-point, you know what, C-Pool, if you're still here, where does that rank? Where does 3.23 seconds rank in the NFL in getting to the quarterback? I know that the Lions were dead last in pass rush win rates a few weeks ago. I don't know if that went up. I knew yesterday Hutch had, in week 12, had 6 quarterback hits, which set some type of record for the Lions. It was a new franchise record or something like that. The Lions, a couple of weeks ago, were 2nd in sacks. Right now, they are currently 8th. Now, they are ahead of some teams with better records than them. And that's because we've had our offensive woes. If our offensive woes were not offensive woes, then we probably would have a better record than those teams. But when it's all said and done, as we saw yesterday, sacks, you need a sack. You need somebody to close out the game. And yesterday was the perfect example of what I've been saying. Aiden Hutchinson worked his tail off, and it took overtime to get 1 sack yesterday. And now the Detroit Lions go from 2nd. They went from 2nd to 4th to 6th. And in the span of 1 week are now 8th. And could very well, Myles Garrett had 3 sacks yesterday. The Cleveland Browns had 10 sacks yesterday. And the Cleveland Browns are now like number 2 or 3 in sacks. They suck because of their offense. Their defense has been top 5. At one point, it was 1 in the NFL. And when you got a guy like Myles Garrett, and that's why I don't think Hutch is Myles Garrett, right? He can be, or he can be close to. Myles is a specimen, real talk. But we got to have someone else. But Myles ain't alone, though. Myles is not. He had 3 of the 10. The rest of the team had 7. Myles ain't alone. Hutch pretty much is. On a consistent basis. Myles in the last 2 weeks has 8 sacks in the last 2 games. And that's why you give up 2, maybe 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Let me know what you think. What is your opinion on Brad Holmes right now? And like I said, I've been talking about this for a long time. I have nothing. I got 1 man on my target list. That's it. That's 1. Jared Goff gets enough blame. Dan Campbell gets enough blame. I mean, the kicker gets enough blame. Everyone gets blamed. The guy that puts this team together is the person that I'm focusing on. Because it's his decisions, the good and the bad, that put this team together. He doesn't have anything to do with how they play, with how they're coached to play. But the person, and we're at the point that we talked about last week. Is it time that the Detroit Lions start to put talent over everything? Right now, it's grit over talent. Should the Detroit Lions start to prioritize talent over everything? Leave it in the comments below. Have you gotten to the point where you're ready for some talent, more than you're ready for grit, more than you're ready for character? These are real conversations, because not all of these 1,000+ football players are going to be Boy Scouts. And I'm trying to think, when was the last time a Boy Scout team, a team full of Boy Scouts, won the Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. When was the last time a team full of Boy Scouts won the Super Bowl? Let me know what you think in the comments below.